While we're sitting people down here, what's the weirdest cosplay you've seen this weekend? I'll tell you the weirdest I've seen so far. Aside from the fact that we've had 3 Freddy Krueger cosplayers, all different people. And just for people coming in, you might want to sit either in the middle or over there, just because the screen is over there. The weirdest one I've seen, Peter Parker from the 90s animated Spider-Man series. Like, he's wearing like the salmon pink shirt and the black overshirt. And the thing is, nobody would recognize that unless you were as much of an obsessive weirdo about that show as I am. Because otherwise, it just looks like normal clothes. Hey, Blue Popo, that's always fun. All right, anyone else coming in? The other thing you can do if you want to do Peter Parker from 90s animated, because the first season he had this really ugly, like, striped shirt, like green and white. Dude was in college, was ripped, and he looked like such a dork.
To be fair, it is Peter Parker.
It's always weird when you think about Peter Parker and Flash Thompson, because Flash Thompson, bullied him in high school, and of course nowadays with movies, they tend to cast younger or smaller actors to play Peter for these kind of things. But even like Tobey Maguire back then, and especially during like the animated series and whatnot, you see Spider-Man, you see Peter Parker, dude's like muscled up, and you see Flash Thompson like, dweeby little Peter Parker. He's just like, really, Flash, you really gonna do this? Later on, the two actually did become friends because character development, and then they regressed his character back into a jock. And then when he found out that Peter was Spider-Man, he didn't believe it at first. Like, completely disbelieving, thought the whole thing was a hoax. Until he tried to fight him again. And of course, just Peter laid him out. All right, I think we got everybody in here, so are you guys ready to go? Okay, I guess we'll start then. We got this. All right. Hello and welcome to Daughter of Atop the Fourth Wall Live. You've been saying me this many years to get to daughter? If this is your first time seeing Atop the Fourth Wall in live or recorded form, well, my lawyer told me to remind you that by watching, you are forfeiting the right to sue me afterwards for any reason except if I do end up summoning that demon. But don't worry, I assure you that was just an isolated incident the last 4 times it happened. So despite the fact that my show primarily focuses on Western comic books, I tend to get invited to a lot of anime conventions like Youmacon. Then again, you people keep inviting me here despite having actually seen me before, so nothing really makes sense. That kind of makes my job a bit harder, since I want to put together a live show based on something even tangentially related to anime or manga. But there's only so much I'm actually interested in those categories, and that I can talk about without people groaning about how I don't get it. So, maybe it's time to branch out a bit. Maybe it's time for me to explore some more classic stuff in manga that are still beloved to this day. Something completely removed from superheroes, Power Rangers, Star Trek, or anything else I'm normally comfortable with. Maybe I should review a manga from Dragon Ball, or Trigun, or Gundam or something. Or, I could just do My Hero Academia. On the off chance you're unfamiliar with it, the series is about a world where the majority of people have superpowers, and we follow around a boy who doesn't have any, who dreams of becoming a hero. And who wouldn't want to be a superhero when you can have hair like that? I mean, really, at that point it stops being hair and just becomes the guy's antenna. We open with a flashback to the youth of our main character, Izuku Midoriya. He's trying to defend a bullied child from 3 kids with powers. Enough, Cap-chan! You already made him cry! Stop it! Just because most people have superpowers doesn't mean everybody will have their love interest stuffed in a fridge. We meet our 3 bullies. 1 kid with bat wings, the main kid with some kind of explosive fist, and this kid over here who makes money raking leaves in the fall. So, Deku, the quirkless wonder, thinks he can play hero, huh? Boy, are they going to be surprised when it turns out they're actually playing Infinity Gauntlet and he's Thanos. People are not born equal. That's the hard truth I learned at age 4. Some people are given chocolate chip cookies and some oatmeal raisin. But that was my first and last setback. After I murdered those 3 anyway. We're now in the present day, where Izuku and several other bystanders are watching a bunch of heroes taking on some kind of giant person. And then flashback again so we can get the history of this world. It all began in KK City in China, with the news that a bioluminescent baby was born. Behold, the baby who was his own nightlight! After that, exceptional individuals began popping up all over the world. Yes, exceptional individuals like, oh God, it burns boy! Flip through comics from a distance man! And crap, how do I do my hair now, woman? Fantasy became reality. The world was rebooted at least 8 times by the year 2000. At present, 80% of the world's population consists of superhumans with special abilities. Unfortunately, the most common superpower is the ability to marathon TV shows in one night. The world is in chaos, and a profession that everyone once only dreamed about entered the spotlight. Surprisingly, that job was professional laundry folding. Apparently what happened in the present was that a guy tried to steal a purse and, when cornered, he transformed into the giant kind of shark-headed dude we see here. Seems like an overreaction for the $12 he was trying to steal, but maybe in this world, given all the super people, he'd get exiled into the Phantom Zone or something, I don't know. One hero in particular makes a remark about this. Illegal use of abilities during rush hour, as well as robbery and assault? You're pure evil. During rush hour? My God, he's like this world's Ed Gein. The hero here is Kamui Woods, who's basically part tree or something and can send out roots and wood to attack the giant. Ah, the Evil Dead superhero. However, Giant Shark Dude is swiftly defeated by another giant person who leaps in. Today's my debut. Or rather, debut, given that pose in the outline. It would seem they have adopted the body paint part of superhero costumes, too. Pleased to meet you all. You can call me Mount Lady. Yes, Mount Lady, which is why she has devil horns. Along with the exceptional abilities came an explosion in the crime rate. While nations struggled to overhaul their legal systems, brave individuals took up the mantle of heroes straight out of comic books, protecting the people from evildoers. Well, at least until their next crossover, where they spent more time fighting each other instead of evildoers. But hey, at least nobody's had to have a clone saga yet. With public support, some quickly acquired the right to serve as heroes in an official capacity. Depending on their performance, they have the potential to earn government pay, fame, and glory. Being a government employee who seeks fame and fortune, what all great heroes aspire for. Actually, when you get right down to it, this is technically the plot of Youngblood. After all, with as many generic characters as Rob Liefeld created for that, it's easy to believe 80% of the people in his world have superpowers. Izuku does some research on Mount Lady. Gigantification, huh? Wow, that fact just increased her fetishization factor by like 30%. Later, Izuku is at school. You guys are all 30 years now. It's time to start thinking seriously about your futures. When are you kids gonna get your YouTube channel started? I would hand out these future career forms, but I assume you all want to be heroes. Yeah, screw you, architecture and medicine. You got big ass teeth and your only career choice is spandex and punching. The main bully from the beginning, named Katsuki, thinks only he has a chance at becoming a true student at UA High School. I aced the mock exam. I'm the only one here with the stuff for UA. Turns out UA is actually a tap dancing school, hence why he's dancing on the desk here. Izuku is also trying out for UA, although Katsuki can't really believe that, hence why he blasts Izuku's desk. I'd just like to remind you all that they're in the middle of class, and the teacher just told them that they weren't allowed to use their powers while in school. Then again, the same guy said there's no point in having them try out for any other careers because they all want to become superheroes, even though by this comic's own admission, not everyone gets to become a professional hero. So really, this teacher is just really bad at his job. That's his superpower. The problem for Izuku is that, well, he doesn't have any superpowers, and there's no precedent for a non-powered person to be admitted into the school. So these people got inspired by superhero comics to become heroes, but nobody knows about Batman?
His powers is super thinking.
Izuku admits that it's always been his dream to join the place, and there's no harm in trying to get in, even if it's impossible. Katsuki, though, is a dick and mocks him for that. I see this universe also adopted another part of superhero comics, adolescent male power fantasies. That afternoon in the downtown area, a person who has some kind of goopy liquid superpowers runs through streets having stolen something. This guy must have been inspired by the chaos this morning. Given how he looks, I'm pretty sure he was more inspired by melting ice cream. Also, inspired to do what? Grow huge and be attacked by a giant lady? Back at the school, Izuku prepares some of his notes for the UA entrance exam, but Katsuki grabs the notes and burns them with his powers. Yeah, Izuku, I think you might have spoken too soon about the whole not having any more setbacks thing. Still, how hard can the test be? Power and responsibility, stop evildoers, never make a deal with Satan that gives up your marriage. It's not that hard. We get another flashback to when he was a little kid, watching a YouTube video of the debut of a guy named All Might, aka Captain Hair from the cover. He's so cool! When I get my quirk, I want to be just like him. Better get the gel in your hair now, kid. Unfortunately, he and his mother get the news from his doctor. There's no hope of him developing superpowers. Pardon my asking, ma'am, but you're fourth generation, yes? Yes, of course. I can pull small objects towards me, and my husband can breathe fire. It makes our romantic life very interesting, but I won't talk about that in front of my son. The doctor explains that most times you can discover if someone has a quirk because of the absence of an extra joint in the pinky toe. However, Izuku still has the extra joint, which has got to be the lamest superpower ever. Hey, I'm double jointed, but in a place where it does me absolutely no good. Also, I love how this implies that we're basically one extra tiny little bone away from having superpowers. Get some unnecessary surgery, kids, and soon you can make acid spew from your fingertips. Inspired by All Might, Izuku decided to soldier on no matter what others said about him or his lack of powers, which is why I guess he's never combed. Unfortunately, Izuku's day gets worse since he runs into the purse-snatching creature from before. Don't worry, I'm just hijacking your body, kid. Calm down. Geez, kid, I'm just subsuming your will and absorbing you into my being without your consent and erasing your identity so I can escape the petty crime I did. Man, you're being really rude here. Izuku tries to slap the monster, but it doesn't work. No point in trying that. I'm fluid, you see. I've got to imagine this is what eventually became of the Kool-Aid Man. Fortunately, Izuku is rescued by All Might, who leaps out of a sewer while carrying 2 bottles of Coke. Drink soda, everybody, and you'll become like All Might. Here's my official endorsement for the day as I drink this Diet Coke. All Might, I am a man, punches the creature apart. Izuku wakes up, having fainted from the attack on him. All Might wishes him well, explaining that he has defeated the creature and contained him in that 2-liter soda bottle. And it still tastes better than Dr. Pepper. All Might flies off, but Izuku manages to grab hold of his leg, wanting to ask him a bunch of questions. All Might finally agrees to do so. Meanwhile, the creature apparently was not totally defeated and begins to wake up, right where Katsuki is walking and complaining about Izuku to his buddies. Seeing him so full of stupid dreams like when we were kids, it just pisses me off. How dare he have hopes and dreams? I'm gonna burn his house down. Unfortunately, that makes him a good target for the monster. Well, hey, if it's attacking Katsuki, it can't be all bad. Izuku asks All Might if someone without a quirk can become a hero, but while he's rambling about his difficulties he's had being bullied, something seems to happen to All Might, and he transforms into a scrawny-looking guy with the pointiest of chins. Jeez, he doesn't need to be so damn muscular and big. His friggin' chin is a deadly weapon. You're gonna cut a steak with that thing. All Might explains his appearance is like someone holding in their gut to try to look skinnier and more bulky. Okay, but how do you explain the Yu-Gi-Oh hair you have now?
Card games.
5 years ago, an enemy did this to me. My respiratory system was nearly destroyed, and my stomach was removed. On the plus side, it has made me the best Jack Skellington cosplayer ever. Because the procedure makes him waste away, he can only do his heroic work for about 3 hours per day. The rest of the day, suit actor for any given Slender Man movie. All Might feels that a professional hero should always be ready to risk his life, and without powers, one cannot reasonably expect someone to risk their lives. As such, his answer is sadly no. Still, he also recommends that he could always become a police officer if he wanted to help. It's not wrong to dream. However, you need to be realistic, kid. Said the skinny man who had his stomach removed and inflates himself up to fight slime monsters. Unfortunately, that's also when he realizes that he lost the bottle full of said slime monster and then spots an explosion in the distance. And that explosion is indeed the creature merged with Katsuki, both thinking they're in control of the other. Other heroes, however, are unable or unwilling to go after them. Mount Lady's excuse is, a single-lane street? I can't get there. When, you know, she can shrink down, get past that street, and then grow again when she got close. Just saying, the area's already getting devastated and destroyed. The situation is one Monty Python-esque foot away from being resolved. Izuku spots this and gets in closer, realizing that the creature got away from All Might, and that another middle schooler is going through the same pain he had gone through a short time ago when the creature tried to assimilate him. On the other hand, it's Katsuki, who thinks a kid having dreams is cause enough to bully and abuse him, so... However, with no other heroes coming and Katsuki's look of terror evident, Izuku himself just rushes in to attack. After tossing his backpack at the creature to distract it, he gets in closer to Katsuki and starts to try to pull him free. Katsuki, being a miserable dickhead, asks why the hell he's the one helping him. Izuku thinks of all the various reasons he could give, but really only has one. You looked like you needed saving. But clearly you have this under control. What with the fires and the death and the looks of anguish. My apologies, I'll leave you to it. Inspired by Izuku's near sacrifice, All Might manages to muster enough courage to risk hurting himself further by transforming back into his Lieffeldian form. He uses his most powerful attack, Detroit Smash! So, is it like getting hit by Detroit, or it's powerful enough to level Detroit?
Yes, Detroit's a capital city.
Afterwards, the other heroes accost Izuku for his recklessness while praising Katsuki for being tough. Yeah, let's all praise the one who didn't actually do anything. Clearly, all of you people understand what being a superhero is all about. To further show what a douchebag Katsuki is, he later yells at Izuku that he never asked for his help. He's a stupid nerd, didn't need him, yada yada. Keep stroking yourself like that with your power, asshole. You're gonna set your crotch on fire. Showing far more appreciation, however, is All Might, who stops by to talk to Izuku and thank him for inspiring him. Kid, I've come to thank you and revise what I said earlier. I also have a proposal. Will you marry me? And so the first chapter ends with All Might saying what Izuku had hoped his own mother would have said to him after they learned he didn't have a superpower. You can be a hero! And thus All Might's true identity is revealed. David Bowie! Anyway, the story is good. Like most great superhero stories, it acknowledges that heroism is not about the ability to shoot fireballs out of your ears, but rather the will and courage to combat evil and help people, which Izuku can do pretty dang well. It's got some interesting ideas, especially with the concept of non-powered people basically being a marginalized group facing bigotry and condescension. Good stuff, I recommend it, just as everyone else has been recommending it to me. Anyway, that's all I got for this one, so thank you, everybody. So, of course, we still got another half hour. And I figure we can just open this up to Q&A if that's okay with all of you. All right. I don't know if both microphones were turned on, but I know that one is at least. Try not to tap the microphone, but in any case, line up and let's just make it this one right over here because we know that one works and that way we don't have to try to keep alternating. So, line up. Don't all go at once.
Come on.
Okay, why is the prize the Infinity Gauntlet for the champion arc?
Because several years ago, I got that Infinity Gauntlet prop from a guy named Edgar Mayoral, who is a metal worker and has actually done a few actual professional movie props before. And so I've had that for years now, and I wanted to do something with it. And coincidence upon coincidence, the Infinity Gauntlet is in the news right now. People know about it because of the upcoming Infinity War. So I thought, why not? Let's actually finally use this thing. Yep.
Just out of curiosity, what is your favorite deconstructing comic? Like for me, it's Hero Squared. I don't know if you heard of that one or not.
I have not.
It's basically a superhero whose universe got destroyed comes into our world, meaning his counterpart, who's a complete and utter dweeb. I mean, to the point where his counterpart's cursing. He's like, "Are you using such profanities?" But it's deconstructed, realizing he is full of himself, even though he thinks he's not. He's always going for punching rather than using his brain.
Yeah.
But so that's my favorite. What's your favorite?
Watchmen.
Watchmen. All right.
Nice and simple. I like Watchmen. It was revolutionary and great for its time. It still is a great story. I could poke holes in it till all day if I wanted to, but I still love it. I am very interested to see where things are going to go with DC Rebirth in that regard. And we got Doomsday Clock coming out this month, which should finally bring things to a head. So we'll see where they go with it.
I do highly recommend it. It's Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis, so you know it's good.
All right, I will make a note of that.
Do you ever plan on doing any of the Alien comics, like Vampirella versus Alien?
Not immediately for Atop the Fourth Wall, but I've been doing some of them for Longbox, actually. I've done the first two Alien versus Predator comics. I'm starting to do the Fire and Stone mega crossover between Alien versus Predator and all that stuff. I did Prometheus Fire and Stone first. The next year, I think it's going to be Aliens Fire and Stone. I have no immediate plans to cover Aliens for Atop the Fourth Wall. But maybe I might do it for a Halloween thing down the line, though, like I said, no immediate plans, because I have been sent some really crap Alien comics before.
That's must equal Aliens.
Yeah, well, there's one that immediately comes to mind, where it's like a scientific research team doing research on the xenomorphs. And they have built an android xenomorph, but the android can talk, and it smokes. So you have this xenomorph just hanging around with the rest of them with a cigar going like, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
That sounds awesome. Please do it sometime.
I know, I gotta do that at some point.
Look at this.
A couple of questions. First one, what's your favorite storyline that from Atop World that you've done so far?
The original A Piece of the World is Missing, the first Entity arc. I think that it just came together so well, and I think it works as a horror story overall. I love how it concluded. I love all the build-up to it. I love the fear that evoked people. I love that people started making kind of an augmented reality game out of it with the comments, and I so wish I had thought of that firsthand. So yeah, that is my favorite. The Sleepwalker is probably a great close second. And I'm so happy it's done with. The Sleepwalker was supposed to have ended last year. It was supposed to end on the Halloween episode, and the last line device was not just going to be what it was. Since it was going to be a Halloween episode, it was going to end with, "Hey Vice, trick or treat." I know, but I didn't end up getting to do that, so I'm still sad that happened. But hey, it's finally over. I'm so happy it's over. You guys, I can't even get into it. So anyway, yeah, original NTR is my favorite.
And then next question, what's your favorite character that you've created for the show?
Buffo. It's always hard to say. 90s Kid has grown so much, and I'm so happy with his character development over the last several years. I love them all. I love doing all of them. And it's so easy for me to slip in and out of them these days. And I'm really loving how I'm doing more with Bone Button, my wrestling character. And my one hope is that someday I'll be able to do like a crossover with Jim Sterling and his new character Stardust. There you go. That's my favorites.
Are there any smaller creators that not just YouTube or not just comic book, but like indie movie creators or anybody that you'd love to shout out or even work with?
Certainly. One thing I'd love to shout out Super Academy, which I did a brief cameo for in one or two of their episodes as a kind of Tony Stark-esque figure. They tried to kickstart their second season and did not succeed, unfortunately. I'm hoping to have them help me out with the Long Box of the Damned movie when I get around to filming that.
It's gonna be a that?
What was that?
That's gonna be a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. The first draft of the screenplay is almost done. I'm hoping to finish it up in the next few weeks. And it's probably not going to come out at the very least until 2019, 2020. But we're getting there, and it's going to be a horror movie. Linkara will only be in it briefly. I'm going to try to hire like local actors to be in it, so like everyone's unfamiliar with, to try to like ease people in and maybe give it a bit more mainstream appeal. But trust me, it'll be Moarte, it'll be Longbox. You'll love it.
Any feelings on Voltron?
I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately. Sorry. I know, man. Well, right now, I'm marathoning Stranger Things. I cut off at the second season, right when they're wearing the Ghostbusters outfits. They get to school and they realize, wait, why is nobody else wearing costumes? So that's where I'm at right now in season 2 of Stranger Things. So no spoilers. And my fiance and I are marathoning BoJack Horseman. Yeah. So we are about right in the middle of BoJack Horseman, right in the episode with BoJack's mother and the doll. That's the last episode we saw.
I was wondering, since Moarte loves horror and only gets weirded out when he gets something from the long box that isn't very scary, like the Barbie comic, is there anything that Moarte actually would be scared of?
I'm trying to think. I think I wrote at some point there was something he was frightened of that was like completely irrational. Like maybe like sock puppets or something like that. But I want to go even more innocuous than that. Like maybe he sees Jolly Ranchers. It's like, it's juice, but in rectangular form.
Starburst.
There you go, Starburst.
Big Starburst.
Cool.
Yep.
Hey Lewis, you had mentioned the 1990 Spider-Man animated series. In comparison to comic books, which was your favorite and least favorite of their interpretations of their villains?
Let's see, interpretations of their villains. I love their Venom. I thought they used it minimally, and that was probably for the best. Because one of the problems that Venom had in the comics was that he became so overexposed that he lost a lot of his appeal, and they kept writing him so goofy. Like the stuff about him about wanting to eat brains, that was a thing for a while in the 90s. Their Carnage was the best they could considering kid standards at the time. They did the best they could with him. For a guy who's supposed to be all about killing.
He's so full. That's pretty scary for a kid.
Yeah. Let's see. Their Dr. Octopus was German for some reason. But I thought he was okay for what he was. He became kind of a generic villain after a while. They just kind of hired whatever they wanted. But I liked some of the ideas with him, and at times they played up his history with Peter. Let's see, who else? Their Kraven was okay. They made him kind of an anti-hero, midway through. Let's see. I love their reinterpretation of the Beyonder.
Yes.
If you can count the Beyonder as a villain. And I love giving him like much more to do. Eventually, I'm probably going to cover like their version of Secret Wars at some point, just on a whim or something like that. Especially leading into the series finale with their version of the Clone Saga. Love their Hydro Man. It's one of those ones that work so well in modern day as we start looking more and more about toxic masculinity. And Hydro Man, just like as a stalkery boyfriend of Mary Jane, loved how they did that. And they did Hydro Man because they couldn't use Sandman. Here's the thing. At the time, James Cameron was developing a Spider-Man movie that was supposed to have like Sandman and I can't remember, like someone else, I can't remember who. Electro, which is why they couldn't use Electro for so many years. But that project fell through, but at this point there's no reason to bring in Sandman, so just keep with Hydro Man. And eventually they did Electro. His was weird though. So get this, their version of Electro was the son of the Red Skull, who was given electricity powers as part of a doomsday weapon that the Red Skull had developed. But the one thing they gave him over the real Electro is they proved just how powerful Electro could be. Basically put him on the level of Magneto, just having so much power of electricity. Like, he brings down S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, he can just like render all objects useless against him. His electromagnetic field can block bullets and lasers. It was awesome. But it was just a weird reinterpretation of the character in that regard as opposed to just an electrician who got powers. So yeah, I liked a lot of their reinterpretations. I'm trying to think of one that I didn't like. Which, maybe Scorpion.
Yeah.
Because Scorpion was really kind of just a loser. He was kind of menacing in his first appearance and all the rest of them. It was just like, yeah, we need another generic villain. Scorpion's here.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Spot. In fact, they made the spot.
They made the Spot awesome. Because the Spot in comics is one of those ones that everyone just makes fun of as a loser Spider-Man villain. And in this case, they kind of played that up as kind of a weenie scientist who develops this awesome portal technology. But they made him for just a one-off episode, and he's like, I could be a great villain. And so he used his powers to, great effect. But in the end, he has to sacrifice himself because one of the portals that he opens, he misses closing it, and so it just starts growing larger and larger. And so he needs like Spider-Man and the Kingpin's help to finally close it, or else the Earth will be destroyed, leading to one of the best Kingpin lines ever. Basically, like when they realize this portal is going to engulf the world, it's like we need some way of getting close enough to stop it. Gentlemen, I believe I can be of assistance. And his assistant is like, why are you helping him? There is no profit to be had in the destruction of the entire world. It is very bad for business. That guy is the perfect Kingpin. I can't remember the actor who plays him.
Roscoe Lee
what was
Brown.
that?
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Yeah, that's the one. Roscoe Lee Brown, I think. It was Roscoe Lee Brown?
Yeah.
Anyway, watch the 90s Spider-Man animated series. It has some crap animation at times, but the writing and the voice acting so make up for that. Anyway, next.
So, given your love for Pokemon and some of the other stuff that came out around that time, like Digimon stuff, have you ever heard of or looked into a series that kind of was competition to it in Japan for a while called Shin Megami Tensei?
I have not.
Okay, it's well known in America now for like its spin-off Persona, but it basically takes like what Pokemon does, like collecting all these things, and turns it into mythological creatures that are now out for your head.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, lots of blood, death, and stuff. It's
Actually,
some of the games are really good, and I think They play up on a lot of tropes across the board.
Yep.
Just avoid the fourth game in the main series. It's bad.
Some people keep telling me.
Very.
Alright, either.
Hello. Can I have a few questions? Just like two. Is that fine?
No! No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Out of all the comics you've read, what is your least favorite comic?
Holy Terror. Like, so easily, Holy Terror has been. I used to have this Image comic that was the worst comic I'd ever read before. You can see it in the, it's in every one of the opening theme songs in the big pile of comics. But that one got supplanted almost immediately by Holy Terror because everything that is bad, like I can think of everything that is bad about any comic ever, I can list about Holy Terror, from sequential art to not using color properly. If you're gonna be black and white, be black and white, but don't try to just randomly insert colors in everywhere else as if it's supposed to mean something. It's bad symbolism, it's racist, it's sexist, it's just everything bad about it. So Holy Terror is the worst.
Okay, my second question is, have you watched the recent season of Power Rangers Ninja Steel, or Power Rangers Hyperforce?
I have not, unfortunately. Ninja Steel I'm probably going to be watching when I start gearing up to do the history of Power Rangers on it. I have not heard good things about it, which is going to suck for me because when you have to, because it's bad enough having to marathon at least 13 hours of television all at once. It's even worse when it's actually more like 18 hours from pausing it. And then it's bad a TV you have to marathon through. So that's probably not going to be fun if it really is as bad as people say. I have not watched Hyperforce yet either. It's odd because I have been part of one of those live streaming D&D session kind of things before, and I know people have tons of fun with them. I have tons of fun doing them. I have a harder time watching them, or at least following along with them, and I want to. I know Team 4-Star has started doing one of their own. But I know Power Rangers Hyperforce is a thing, and I do kind of want to watch it, especially because Andre the Black Nerd is on there, and he's a great guy. But I have not watched it yet myself, sorry to say.
Would you do a history of the Power Rangers on it?
No. Unless it was technically, unless they declared it officially canon to the actual show. I know Aaron Cahill reappeared as Jen in it, but I don't know if Saban has said that it's an official canon series.
Okay.
But if they did, then yeah, I'd do it. If they Patreon it, yes, that would be an interesting thing to try out.
Who's your favorite character in My Hero Academia?
Since I've only read the first chapter of the first volume, unfortunately, I don't know a lot. But I like his name is Deku, right? When they actually bring him when they do more stuff with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the kid who gets All Might's powers.
I've seen a lot of among my friends when talking about Doomsday Clock. They're giving up the Superman versus Dr. Manhattan.
Yep.
A lot of people I know think it's dumb because they say Dr. Manhattan would crush Superman in an instant. Do you agree with that? How do you think it's going to go down?
It's going to be very odd because like they said, they're not wrong. The dude can split your body apart from the atomic scale, and Superman's not immune to that. And I don't know how you can have a fight like that because it'd be an instant, kind of death, that kind of thing. I think what'll happen is that Superman won't try to punch him, or at least he'll try to punch him, and Dr. Manhattan will just lay him out, really quick, basically. And so it'll be more a philosophical battle where he'll try to convince Dr. Manhattan that what he's done is wrong and stuff like that. Because it's not going to come down to them punching each other, and if it does, this will be such a waste of time. Thank you.
So I have a question about Mechacar. I was wondering if the universe he came from, did he destroy it or did he assimilate it? And are we going to see anything more about said universe?
I've thought about trying to go back to his universe to see what's going on, because when last we left, and that was almost 10 years ago, it was still like a stalemate between humanity and the machines, with humanity starting to gain traction by using magical items to combat them. So I've thought about returning him there and seeing okay, or at least us going there and seeing what's happened in the meantime. Is the war still going on? Has humanity recaptured things? Have the machines figured out magic in the meantime? I'm hoping to do something like that in the future. Mostly because one of the ideas I have for future content is audio dramas. Basically doing things that I can't do on the limited budget of Atop the Fourth Wall. One such idea is returning to Jarrus's universe. I mean, hi, Will. Will's here. Where's Jarrus? And going to his world and like actually seeing the Civil War in action. Like maybe the government was just laying low this whole time, and they're going to come back with a vengeance. So I'm hoping to do like audio dramas like that, and maybe one of those will be visiting Mechacar's world and doing like a large scale project like that.
Awesome. I also wondered, did you ever have a comic that you thought was going to be absolutely terrible, and you found out, like, it's not so bad?
A few times. A lot of these tend to happen much more in the early days of the show. There was one comic, I think, called Wanderers number 5, about like a group of misfit weird superheroes in space or something, and they go to this planet which is populated like purple dinosaurs, something like that. Not like Barney purple dinosaurs, just like dinosaurs that are purple. And like one of the characters is like a shapeshifter, and supposedly he like mates with one of the dinosaurs. And so the thing is, I was going to review that, and then I read it, and I was like, okay, this is weird, but it's not bad.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes the comics do surprise me.
Hello?
Hello!
I have like 2 questions for you. For starters, what is your favorite goat movie?
Goat movie?
Cult.
Cult movie.
Yeah, like Evil Dead or, you know.
It's with some movies, it's hard to describe what is or isn't a cult movie anymore.
Like the movies that...
No, I get what you mean though, because I'm going to still answer your question. That would be WNUF Halloween Special. I don't know if anyone has seen this. It came out in 2013. They distributed it at VHS conventions and left it like as a bootleg tape. Because the idea of it is that it's a videotape recording of some local town, some local cities, broadcast news and stuff like that, where, we're going into a haunted house as our Halloween special kind of a thing, and we'll perform a live seance, and they basically made it as authentic as possible to one of those weird local broadcasts kind of a thing, and it's great because in between all those segments is like fake commercials they put together for like orange juice and pumpkin and come down to Millie's Arcade and fake TV shows and fake movies for like the Sunday night movie kind of a thing. And it's glorious, and I really recommend checking out the WNUF Halloween special. And weird shenanigans of course start happening in the haunted house that they go to.
And what is your favorite creepy YouTube video series, like Marble Hornets or Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared?
Unfortunately, I don't watch a lot of the creepy YouTube series. A long time ago, okay, here's a weird thing about me. Sometimes, instead of actually watching a show, I'll read a wiki for a show.
Big TV tropes. I read a lot of TV tropes.
Especially if the wiki has like a very expansive synopsis of what's been going on. I did that for Lost for like the first 4 seasons. I never actually watched Lost. I just read descriptions of Lost for like 4 seasons worth of episodes. And the same thing happens for Marble Hornet. I followed along the wiki to like episode like 40 or 50, and trying to like decipher what's going on and follow along the characters. Never actually watched any of it in reality, so I don't know what the heck happened to it, or like if it's still going on or anything like that.
There was sort of a spiritual sequel. There was a popular YouTuber by the name of Nightmind who did an explaining of Marble Hornets. That's how he got started. You might like him. He's actually pretty good.
Nice. But yeah, otherwise I don't really have a favorite as a result of that. That being said, I can tell you my 2 favorite creepypastas in general are the NES Godzilla creepypasta. Such a great story. I really wish he'd finished the sequel to it. And Castle. I think it was Castle Cove. Candle Cove.
Recently I saw TVT at a local Walmart that said San Zero Candle Cove Season 1. I have no idea what that's about.
It's possible someone made an actual web series based off it, because I can believe it.
Well, thanks for your time.
No problem, thank you.
And today is my birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dude.
Notwithstanding, like,
Jack Kirby, of your life, what would be your dream team art and writer for a comic book, and what concept?
Sorry, I missed the first part of your question. Was that?
Oh, I was just saying, setting up, like, imagine like every famous comic book creator like Jack Kirby or Dwayne McDuffie were still alive. Dream team, artist, and writer for a comic book, and what concept for the comic book?
I would want Teen Titans Unlimited, where you have like every single possible Teen Titan member throughout the years on their own team. George Perez, or not Jim Lee, what was it? I'm trying to think of his name. Jay Fairburn? No, damn it, I'm trying to think of his name. The guy who did JLA/Titans Detectives Imperative. Phil Jimenez. Either Phil Jimenez or George Perez, because you want to get someone who's good at drawing 1,000 characters in a single panel.
Yeah.
And for the writer of it, it's hard to say because I have so many favorite writers out there. Neil Gaiman would be good. Gail Simone would be great. Bringing back Marv Wolfman would be nice. Although considering a massive 60 character cast of characters, another one who would be good at that. Who was part of the Three-Boot Legion? Barry Kitson and who?
Mark Waid.
And Mark Waid. Mark Waid would be great on that as well. Because then you could have single issue stories about certain characters and stuff like that. And being able to juggle that many characters requires a really skilled hand, something like that. So yeah, that's what I would love to see.
Hello there. Have you been reading the Boom Studios Power Rangers series, and then, what do you think of it?
I have not, unfortunately. I know a lot about what's been going on in that, because I know about the Lord Draken guy.
Yeah.
Who's like the mixture of the White and Green Ranger.
I've only read, I think, up to the first year's worth of it, and I would have to say that for it taking place a lot between the characters and less about the fights, it's actually pretty well written, and it dives even deeper to the guilt that Tommy always felt being evil.
Yep, so I've heard. And actually, I've actually been contacted before by, I think it was Kyle Higgins, who's the writer of it.
I believe so.
Yeah, because he wanted copies of History of Power Rangers.
Nice.
Because of course a bunch of them are currently down on my site. I've brought back a whole bunch of them. RPM and Jungle Fury are still down. I didn't get a chance to re-render new versions of them for VidMe, but they'll be back, probably in this coming week. But so yeah, he's been marathoning through them because he wanted to know more about Power Rangers, and he doesn't have the time to marathon through 800, 900 plus episodes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, I'm looking forward. At some point, I am going to sit down and read all those because I've heard such good things about them. I read one issue of it, and it was really good. The one that I had, Bulk and Skull, they were actually doing their own YouTube channel. Anyway, user.
Let's see. During the tournament arc, is there going to be a villain that's going to come back from later? You think, or?
Possibly. I've thought about the idea of introducing somebody who would pay off down the line. I also considered having an early version of Vice inside of it.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah, because the tournament is outside of time and space, so we can have anybody show up. Though I'm mostly thinking of it's going to be original characters that I'm creating specifically for the tournament arc. But yeah, I thought about it. What's going to happen is that sometime later this month, I'm going to get a bunch of my friends together, and we are going to basically plan out this arc. Contest of Champions, I wanted to start in a Halloween arc so we could have another mind journey and end the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. So, but like I said, the storyline was supposed to start last year. So the tournament arc is going to be a bit rushed and it's going to end a bit earlier than I anticipated. But that's only because we have the 10th anniversary storyline coming up at the end. So yeah, I'm going to get a bunch of my friends together. We're going to brainstorm all the characters we're going to do for this and a lot of the battles we're going to have. And so we might introduce a new villain down the line for it, because Lord knows, I need new villains, but how many times have I friggin' used Vice? Yeah, the reason I decided not to use Vice for it was because we just killed him off. If I ever bring him back, which I'm not planning on doing so, if we ever do, let's wait a few years, give him a rest for a bit. So anyway, we have time for one or two more questions. So go ahead, sir.
Speaking of, you said earlier about comics you thought were going to be bad that are actually good? Is there any, have you ever encountered anything done by Rob Liefeld that you actually liked?
No. Like, I can't think of a single thing he's ever written that I thought was actually good. Things that were okay, but not like, not like anything to write home about. He did 2 issues of Teen Titans.
I mean, I could have said Joker's out of it, but we all know that's just impossible for him to do anything good.
Oh, he's done good things before, because he's actually like a potentially talented creator. It's just, he's done something so awful it kind of taints everything else he's done. Yeah, alright, next turn.
Favorite Pokemon and why?
Bulbasaur, because it was the first Pokemon I ever wanted to have. Back when I first played Pokemon Blue on an emulator because I didn't have the money for a Game Boy or anything like that. So I was doing, because I was just starting to get into Pokemon, so I did research on, okay, which starter should I get? And it looked like Bulbasaur was the one, so I'm playing Pokemon for the first time, and I get Bulbasaur, and I'm so happy. And I like kicked ass with my Bulbasaur, and so Bulbasaur is the first one I ever wanted, the first one I ever had, and so it's just my favorite.
And how can I get your autograph?
Come to the, right after this panel, I'm heading back to my table, which is in the 4th row in the dealer's hall, and right in the middle near the photo booth and the claw grab machine. And I have merch there you can buy, and if you bring something up to me, I will sign that for free.
Thank you.
We have time for, I think, one more question, so make it a good one.
Okay, so this is going to be a weird comic recommendation. But first, have you grown up with Legos?
Yes. Are you going to recommend Bionicle?
Yes.
Everybody recommends Bionicle.
It is as expansive as Star Wars.
I know, that's the problem. Because people have sent me reference books for Bionicle. And it's not that I think it'll be bad, it's that there's just so much of it. I will probably read Bionicle at some point, because if I don't read it on my own, someone at some point is going to Patreon it to me.
Thanks.
So, no problem, man. I will probably look at Bionicle at some point in the future. We have time for just one more, because we are at 2:29. Ask your questions, sir.
Hi. I was wondering, outside of the characters inhabiting it, what makes a setting interesting to you?
What makes what
a setting?
Storytelling potential. Because Doctor Who, for the most part, as a product, usually has roughly the same characters over and over again. Sure, the companions will have different quirks about them. They will have different personality traits about them. But the storytelling engine for Doctor Who is basically limitless. You can go to any time and any place. You can tell stories that are historical. You can tell stories that are weird science fiction. You can tell stories taking place in the mind. You can do what-if scenarios. You can fight alien invaders. You can make friends with weird bug people. Doctor Who can do everything. So that's what interests me most about a setting. What is the storytelling potential of it? Stargate is along similar lines.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you all for coming out here and supporting live panels. Like I said, I'm going to pack up here and head back to my table. I have t-shirts, I have DVDs, I have prints, I have badges, I have posters. Come